Ladies and gentlemen, I want to begin with a question that will shake the dust off your mind. What if I told you that your entire life is being decided every single morning before the world even sees your face? You see, the tragedy of our time is not that people are dying, it's that they're waking up empty. They rise out of bed not with purpose but with pressure. They move, but they have no momentum. They breathe, but they have no breath of vision. So why should you stay and listen to this entire message? Because if you don't understand your morning, you will mismanage your life. Because if you master your morning, you will no longer chase success. Success will start chasing you. Now listen carefully. Every morning is a divine reset. It is heaven's opportunity to reorganize earth through you. When you rise, the question is not what time is it? The real question is, what season am I preparing for? You were not designed to react to the day. You were born to command it. Let me give you a kingdom principle. The day belongs to those who own the morning. The morning is where destiny is shaped. It's where the spirit is fed before the flesh is tempted. It's where vision is reviewed before distractions can distort it. The morning is a sacred appointment between you and your assignment. You don't need more time in your life. You need more life in your time, and that life is found in how you begin, how you initiate, how you govern your morning. When God created the world, the Bible says, "And the evening and the morning were the first day." Not the morning and the evening. That's divine order. But look closer. The morning completes what the night began. The morning is your agreement with God to bring His will to pass for the next 24 hours. You cannot afford to be casual with your mornings. Why? Because casualness creates casualties. The enemy of your purpose knows he doesn't have to destroy you. He just has to distract you, early. If you wake up and the first thing you check is your phone, you've already surrendered your mind to the noise of the world before giving it to the voice of God. You've allowed culture to plant seeds in soil meant only for kingdom instruction. That's why I say, guard your morning like a gatekeeper guards a palace, because your heart is the throne, and whoever gets in first often rules the rest of the day. Let me tell you something. Champions are not born in the ring. They are revealed in the ring. Where are they made? In the secret hours, in the mornings when nobody is watching. Your morning routine is not just about coffee and calendars. It's about consecration and calling. It's about realigning yourself with the source of your purpose before you engage with the systems of the world. Every morning you neglect purpose, you're investing in regret. Every morning you steward well, you're investing in legacy. So I challenge you, before this day ends, make a decision about your mornings. Decide what enters your ears. Decide who has your attention. Decide the first words your mouth will speak. Because whatever begins your day begins to build your life. And remember this, you don't need to change your life. You need to change your mornings, because your morning decides your life. Purpose is not something you stumble into halfway through your day. Purpose is not discovered in the hustle of traffic or the noise of emails or meetings. Purpose is birthed in the silence before the noise begins. It is born in the early hours when your spirit is still sensitive, and your heart has not yet been polluted by the pressures of the world. The morning is not just a time slot, it is a divine window. A sacred space in which heaven whispers instructions to those who dare to listen. It is the moment when time is most pregnant with potential and least infected by distraction. If you miss the morning, you don't just miss a time of day, you miss the delivery room of divine intention. You were not created to wake up into confusion. You were born to awaken with clarity, with direction, with a mandate for the next 24 hours. When you rise without connecting to your purpose, you drift. But when you rise with purpose planted in your spirit, you move with precision. The morning is the only part of your day that belongs entirely to you before anything else can claim it. Your job hasn't reached you. Your critics haven't spoken yet. The world hasn't pushed its weight on your shoulders. It is your moment with eternity before you engage with the temporary. If you do not find your purpose in the morning, you will spend your afternoon reacting to someone else's. You see, purpose does not scream. It whispers. It's not found in chaos, it's hidden in calm. That's why the morning is its natural habitat. In that stillness, your soul can hear what your schedule tries to silence. God is a God of order, and He does not reveal purpose in disorder. That's why He came walking in the cool of the day, not the chaos of midday, to speak with Adam. The morning is that cool place, that meeting place, that sacred hour when your Creator desires to download your assignment for the day before. You are overwhelmed by demands that were never your responsibility to carry. The reason many people feel lost is not because they have no calling. It's because they don't consult the caller. They rush into activity before receiving instruction. They start building before checking the blueprint. You wouldn't begin constructing a house without first reviewing the architectural plan. But many begin their day without consulting the one who designed it. That is why their efforts feel heavy. That is why they are busy but not effective, productive but not fulfilled, because they missed the birthplace of purpose, the morning. Your purpose is too sacred to be discovered by accident. It must be sought in intentional quietness. In morning alignment, every great leader, every visionary, every world changer, whether known or unknown, has learned the secret of meeting purpose at dawn. They know that the morning is not just when the sun rises, it's when vision rises. It's when conviction awakens. It's when the spirit downloads what the flesh must carry. The morning is the birthplace of purpose. Order is the foundation of everything God builds. Before God created life, He created light. Before He created man, He formed the earth. Before He gave dominion, He established boundaries. That is because nothing multiplies without order. Increase is always the result of structure. And when it comes to your life, especially your mornings, you must understand this eternal law. If you want to see growth, expansion, and divine acceleration, you must establish divine order. The morning is not simply a time to wake up. It is the moment to set things in place. Because whatever you leave in disorder at the beginning will create distortion by the end. A disordered morning is a sign of a disordered mind, and a disordered mind cannot carry the weight of divine increase. Many people are praying for more, while God is waiting for them to manage what they already have. You don't receive more when you ask. You receive more when you organize. God does not bless chaos. He blesses order. That is why when Jesus fed the multitude, He first told the people to sit down in groups. That was not a random act, it was a kingdom principle. He brought order before He brought increase. The same must happen in your day. You must organize your thoughts, your priorities, your time, your space, and your attention before you can expect clarity, focus, and productivity. When your morning lacks structure, your purpose lacks momentum. You cannot command the day if you cannot command yourself. And you cannot command yourself if you have no order. Disorder always leads to delay, and delay is the thief of destiny. When you start your morning without direction, you will spend your energy trying to figure out where you're going instead of moving toward it. The principle of first governs the flow of the rest. What you do first becomes the ruler over what comes next. That's why the first hour of your day is not just important, it's prophetic. It sets the tone. It speaks to your future. It either invites clarity or welcomes confusion. And so, if you do not bring your morning under order, you cannot expect your day to manifest fruitfulness. Your day is the seed of your life, and your morning is the seed of your day. When the seed is disordered, the harvest is delayed. This is why God is more concerned with how you manage the little than how much you ask for. He said, "If you are faithful over little, I will make you ruler over much." That's not just about money or ministry, it's about moments. Be faithful over your first moments. Be a ruler in the first hour. Let your morning reflect intentionality. Set your atmosphere. Choose your focus. Guard your peace. Speak your confession. Declare your priorities. When your morning is in divine alignment, your entire day becomes fertile ground for purpose. You don't grow by accident. You grow by alignment. And alignment begins with order. Order is not control. It is clarity. It is flow. It is authority. And where there is order, there is always increase. The mind is the gatekeeper of your destiny, and every gatekeeper decides what enters and what is denied. Every single day, the first thought you allow into your consciousness begins a chain reaction. That thought becomes a lens. It becomes a filter. It becomes a throne. What enters your mind first gains the power to direct your focus. And what gains? Your focus eventually determines your feelings, your decisions, and ultimately your results. Focus is not just mental, it is spiritual. It is the seat of intentionality. It is the place where vision is either sharpened or shattered. And so your first thoughts in the morning are not casual, they are prophetic. They forecast your direction before you take a single step. Most people don't lose focus because they're lazy. They lose focus because they surrender the first few moments of their day to things that do not deserve the authority to speak to their soul. The scroll of social media has replaced the scrolls of scripture. Notifications have replaced meditation. Distractions now hold the seat where divine instruction was meant to sit. You cannot fill your mind with noise and expect to produce clarity. You cannot entertain chaos and expect to walk in confidence. The first thought you think becomes the captain of your inner ship, and your ship will sail in the direction that captain chooses. You are not a victim of your day. You are the architect of it. You choose what enters first. You choose what is seated in the high places of your mind. You choose which voices are crowned with attention, and the one you crown first becomes your guide. That is why the Bible says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Not as a man works, not as a man talks, as he thinks. Your first thought is the seed, and your life is the fruit. If you want to change the harvest, you must change the seed. And if you want to change your direction, you must change the first thought that takes root in your soul every morning. Many people underestimate the power of the mind because they don't understand its role in shaping reality. The mind is the incubator of destiny. It is the divine processor of purpose. And the thoughts you host in the morning either prepare your mind to carry greatness or leave it vulnerable to anxiety, confusion, and disorder. It is not about thinking positively. It is about thinking purposefully. It is about aligning your first thoughts with truth, not with fear. With direction, not with distraction. With identity, not insecurity. Because the first thing that captures your mind in the morning often becomes the loudest voice for the rest of the day. Your focus is too valuable to give away for free. You must guard it like treasure. And guarding your focus begins with guarding your first thoughts. Because whatever enters first leads. And whatever leads determines the life you live. Your life is not the result of what you occasionally do. It is the direct result of what you consistently repeat. Habits are not formed in the middle of action. They are formed at the beginning of your rhythm. And there is no rhythm more powerful, more defining, and more spiritually strategic than your morning. The beginning of your day is the birthplace of your discipline. The things you do first begin to write the laws of your behavior, and those laws become the system that governs your results. Your morning is not simply a reset of time, it is a reset of patterns. It is the place where your mind, your body, and your spirit either fall into routine or rise into rhythm. The power of habit is that once something is repeated often enough, it no longer needs permission from your will. It becomes automatic. That's why the enemy of your destiny does not have to destroy your entire day. He just has to infect your morning routine. Because whatever you do first begins to build a behavioral pathway. If you start with chaos, you will walk in confusion. If you start with clarity, you will move with conviction. That's the secret of habits. They don't ask you to believe, they simply ask you to repeat. And what you repeat, you become. God designed you to live by principle, not pressure. But principles are established through practice, and practice becomes permanent through habit. So the question is not whether you have habits. The question is what kind of habits are shaping your life. Are you rising into the day with intention, with alignment, with purpose? Or are you falling into the day with reaction, with randomness, with regret? The truth is, your habits are either serving your future or sabotaging it. And the most powerful of these habits are formed in the first hour of your morning, when your mind is most impressionable, your spirit is most sensitive, and your environment is still under your control. If you examine the lives of the most effective, Visionary, impactful people in history. You will not always find they were the most gifted, but you will always find they were the most governed. They established habits early and they guarded those habits fiercely. They understood that habits are the invisible architects of success. And they all started in the same place, by mastering the beginning of each day. They didn't wait for motivation to act. They acted until motivation became a natural result. That's what habits do. They turn discipline into instinct. So if you want to change your future, don't wait for a miracle. Change your morning. If you want to reshape your identity, don't just pray for transformation. Design your habits. And the most powerful ones are not the ones people see. They're the ones you repeat when no one's watching, when the sun is just rising and when the world has not yet placed its demands on you. Because habits are not born in the spotlight. They are forged in the quiet repetition of the start. The voice you hear first each morning is not just sound, it is leadership. It is influence. It is direction. Your day does not begin with action. It begins with agreement. And you always agree with a voice before you move toward a vision. That voice may be internal, external, divine, or destructive, but make no mistake, it will shape your path. The human spirit was created to respond to sound. In the beginning, God spoke before he formed. He said, "Let there be light," and light became. So it is with you. Before you do anything, you hear something. Before your hands begin to work, your ears must come into submission. And whoever you submit your hearing to, you give permission to lead you. The tragedy is that many people rise every morning and submit their hearing to noise rather than instruction, to confusion rather than clarity. They turn on the world before they tune into heaven. They listen to fear before they listen to faith. And without realizing it, they give leadership of their entire day to voices that have no authority to guide their destiny. The first voice you hear in the morning plants the first seed in your mind, and that seed becomes thought, becomes attitude, becomes behavior, becomes your life. The principle is simple but powerful. The first voice creates the framework. If you wake up and immediately listen to bad news, comparison, gossip, or anxiety-driven content, your entire day becomes colored by that framework. You will see your tasks through the lens of fear. You will interpret interactions through the lens of defensiveness. You will approach your assignments with hesitation instead of confidence. Not because your day is bad, but because the first voice declared that it would be, and you agreed. That is why Jesus often rose early to pray. He understood a kingdom principle. Before the crowds could speak, before the problems could demand, before the critics could judge, he would hear the voice of the Father. Because once you've heard from the source, everything else becomes noise. When the voice of God is your first instruction, you walk in authority. You don't just respond, you rule. You don't just survive the day, you direct it. Because you are not walking according to opinions, headlines, or pressure. You are walking according to purpose, rooted in the voice that spoke before time began. The most dangerous thing is not what happens in your day. It's who has your ear when it begins. Because ears are gates. And once something enters, it becomes harder to remove. That's why you must guard your gates with conviction. The voice you allow in first becomes your internal compass, guiding every yes and every no, shaping your reactions, and determining your peace. You don't choose your outcomes randomly. You follow the voice that started your day. And if you don't intentionally choose which voice leads, one will choose you. You don't win the battle of your life halfway through the fight. You win before the first punch is ever thrown. Victory is always secured in preparation, not in reaction. And so it is with your day. You do not win the day in the afternoon. You win it before it begins. You win it in the decisions you make when no one is watching. You win it in the quiet place, when the world is still sleeping and your thoughts are still forming. Most people are trying to conquer time while time is already slipping away. But champions, visionaries, and purpose-driven people know the day must be conquered before the world even opens its mouth. Too often we wait until we feel overwhelmed to seek clarity. We wait until we're confused to pray. We wait until we're frustrated to organize. And by the time we try to recover the day, it has already been given away to distractions, to busyness, to voices that pull us off course. But the most successful lives are not lived in reaction. They are lived by design. You cannot wait until midday to decide your mindset. You cannot wait until you are pressured to find your priorities. You must decide before the demand. You must align before the attack. That is what the morning is for. It is the proving ground of your purpose. The greatest mistake you can make is to think your day begins when you clock in or when your phone starts ringing. No, your day begins when you open your eyes. And what you do in that first hour determines whether you walk through the next 23, in authority or in anxiety. There is a reason the Bible speaks of early will I seek you. It is not a religious habit. It is a strategic posture. Because when you rise with intention, when you place your thoughts, your spirit, your goals, and your focus before God at the start, you are taking spiritual control over natural time. You are not entering a day hoping for peace. You are establishing peace before the world can steal it. By the time most people are trying to reset their emotions in the afternoon, the day has already laid claim to their energy. And this is where people miss it. They believe they can rescue a day they never prepared to rule. But the truth is, whatever is not submitted to you in the morning will fight against you in the evening. You must become the governor of your hours, not just a traveler through them. You don't stumble into purpose by 3 p.m. You must set purpose in place before 6 a.m. Every high-performing person understands this rhythm. The harvest you reap in the evening is the result of the seeds you planted before the sun rose. If you wait until the heat of the day to find your strength, you've already surrendered the best part of your power, because you don't win the day in the afternoon. You win it before the day even begins. In conclusion, the truth is simple yet profound. The morning is more than just the beginning of your day. It is the birthplace of your destiny. The moment when purpose is birthed, order is established, habits are formed, and the voices you hear begin to direct the course of your life. The way you engage with the morning will shape everything that follows. Your first thoughts, the first voice you hear, the first actions you take. These are the seeds of the life you will live. It is not enough to simply wake up. You must wake up with purpose, with intention, with alignment to the divine plan that has been set before you. You don't wait for the world to dictate your day. You don't let the distractions, the pressures, or the chaos of life set the tone for what's ahead. You take control of the morning because the morning controls the day. By mastering your first moments, you master your life. You win your day before it even begins. And when you begin to take dominion over your mornings, you will begin to take dominion over your life. So I challenge you today, take back your mornings. Make them a time of connection, purpose, and intention. Align yourself with the truth that you were born for greatness. Design your morning to serve your purpose, and watch how the rest of your life begins to follow suit. The foundation of your future starts with the decisions you make as the sun rises. Don't let it pass you by. Your morning truly decides your life.